Did the Commanders just make a grievous error that could ruin their season? And the team just released the first renderings of the new RFK Stadium design, and they look awesome. What's going on, my beautiful people? Welcome back to the Full Command Show. My name is Grant Mitchell, and we got a fun one today. We are here to discuss a nepotism hire, ? We're going to jump into the reasons behind why the team decided to hire DJ Williams, son of Doug Williams, as their quarterback's coach. I'm going to do my best to give you both perspectives. Yes, it was nepotism. No, he is fully deserving of the job. And we're going to jump into that and figure out which side of the coin we ultimately land on. And then the big part of the video today, we got the first images, a first look at the new stadium design at RFK. And it looks so unbelievably awesome. I can't wait to jump into it. I'll make sure to put the images up on the screen, give you some quotes from the team and directors and designers and everything. And then we're going to close it out by talking about John Harbaugh, who appears to be on his way to the NFC East. So guys, if you're new around here, make sure you do hit that subscribe button, hit that like button as well if you are enjoying the content, and make sure you're leaving me all of your thoughts in the comment section below. As always, really enjoy the conversations that we have down there. Say this every video, but I just want to let you guys know you are appreciated and valued. And even if we don't share the same opinion, I always love reading what you have to say because I want to know who I'm talking to. I want to know what the fans are thinking. Okay, let's start off by talking about DJ Williams. The team made it official. They hired DJ Williams, son of Doug Williams, to be their head quarterback coach. So the optics of this are not great, and everybody knows that. I'm going to do my best to be fair and give both perspectives. And I say this as somebody who's 28 years old, whose resume isn't as expansive as some of the other people that I'm competing with for certain job openings. And you know what? I'll back myself. I'll have some confidence in myself. Yeah, I would do a better job than that guy. His parents just had sex before mine did. If we're gonna keep it simple, that's all it was. So he's got a longer resume. I never thought I would have talked about my parents having sex to start the topic today. Let's talk about DJ Williams. So, one side of the coin, it's blatant nepotism. Williams worked as the Falcons quarterbacks coach last year. He was the assistant quarterbacks coach in 2024. Michael Penix Jr., who we know the Falcons drafted 8th out of Washington. Michael Penix Jr. last year had an EPA per play of .076. I know that that's nerdy and you probably don't know what that means. Essentially, it means he added .076 more points than what was expected on an average play. That makes sense because he's a quarterback. You normally see higher EPAs with quarterbacks and lower EPAs on run plays. That number was 23rd out of 47, and I'll say it again, .076. As a rookie, and granted he only made 3 starts, but they were the first 3 starts of his career, and he didn't have an offseason being told that he was the starter, those numbers were .167. So he fell from .167 as a rookie to .076 as a sophomore. His rookie numbers were 10th out of 47. Again, recently he was 23rd out of 47. That coincides with DJ Williams' promotion from assistant quarterbacks coach to quarterbacks coach. Now, his touchdown to interception ratio did go from 1-to-1 to 3-to-1, and his completion rate rose from 58.1 to 60.1%. Looking at DJ Williams, he only just recently started coaching. He was an offensive assistant with the Saints from 2019 to 2023. Jaden Daniels admires and gets along with Doug Williams, and this is his son. So you're just keeping everything copacetic. It's a move to keep everybody comfortable, not really going out there and looking for the most invasive, said positively, invasive hires and someone who would challenge Jaden Daniels. That's the nepotism angle of it. Let's talk about it being a strong hire now. The Commanders are embracing a youthful movement, which they have made that very clear from the David Blough hire. Speaking of David Blough, he is the offensive coordinator. He had to have signed off on this, if not led this. I'm sure he was in those interviews because this is Dan Quinn's staff, yes, but this is David Blough's staff. So I think Blough was in the room. I think DQ was in the room. I think AP was in the room. But I think Blough had a very large voice in this. And if they ultimately made this decision, it means David Blough signed off on it. Now, does that mean David Blough felt pressured into it because Doug Williams is in the building? Who knows? But then that's a reflection of David Blough. And that's a whole other conversation we have to have. Williams did spend the last 2 years working with Zac Robinson, who was the Falcons offensive coordinator. And Zac Robinson comes from the Sean McVay tree. He worked as the Rams' assistant quarterback, assistant receiver, and then quarterback coach, and finally their passing game coordinator. So we are embracing the youth. We're going with the guy that our offensive coordinator likes, and it's a guy who has ties to the Sean McVay tree, which is the style of offense that we are trying to move to. So all of that makes sense. All of that is why this could be a good hire. Williams also just finished working. He spent the last 2 years working with a quarterback drafted in 2024, just like Jayden Daniels. Michael Penix and Jayden Daniels, close, worked out in the summer together. They have a friendship between them. So DJ Williams comes in with a mindset of working with a young quarterback and helping them grow. So ultimately, what I want you guys to do is I want you to let me know your thoughts on that. Which side of the coin do you fall on? Do you think one of them outweighs the other? Do you think there's merit to both? Do you think it's nonsense and only one side of those perspectives is right? I genuinely have no idea, because how am I really supposed to judge a quarterback's coach and an assistant quarterback's coach who only started coaching about 5 or 6 years ago, and he's never really been in the spotlight? I just kind of learned his name a couple of days ago, so I can't tell you what I fall on. I can't tell you his strengths. I can't tell you his weaknesses. All I can do is give you the possibilities and leave it up to you guys to interpret. So make sure that you do let me know your thoughts down below. Let's move over to the stadium. These images look absolutely stunning, and I'm going to throw them up on the screen, and I don't know how many times I will cycle through them, but just Google Commanders Stadium design, and I'm sure it will be the top link that pops up when you just go to Google. Everybody's got reports out on it. They're on the team website. You can find them pretty much everywhere. But there are a couple of things that stand out to me when I see these images, and again, they look stunning. The first thing that stands out to me is the pillars on the outside. That really makes it so that the stadium blends in with the monuments. It captures the feeling of the area, the ethos, but it also makes it distinguished, which is something that is important to me. You see it stand out, it pops, it's beautiful, it's lovely, but it's not obtrusive. It doesn't look like they just smacked my microphone. It doesn't look like they just dropped this steel behemoth in the middle of nowhere. You know, if they tried to do that with, what's a good example? If they did that with Lucas Oil Stadium, which is that tall brick building with the red neon, it wouldn't have looked right. But I think they did a very good job capturing, again, the feeling of the area. I love the all glass approach where you can see inside to the field, and on the field you can look outside and you can see the Anacostia, and you can see the greenery, and you can see the Capitol building in the background. I love that. It mirrors the design of US Bank Stadium, which is practically entirely glass. I don't really know how much else there is aside from the support beams, but it mirrors that design, and that shouldn't come as a surprise because we are using HKS as our designers, and that's the same team that designed US Bank Stadium, which is a gorgeous stadium, so I'm very fond of that. The shape of the arena intrigues me. It's capped on the sides. It has a dome, but it kind of raises up by where the end zones are going to be. And my hope is that boosts the acoustics and increases the crowd noise in those areas, because that's something that there are certain stadiums, Liverpool's Anfield Stadium does that, the Seahawks, Lumen Field, they have that. There's certain stadiums which are designed to boost that crowd sound, and to put it by the end zone would be very smart. So I'm hoping that's the effect that it has. And then finally, the design pays homage to RFK with just its general appearance. It looks like a 21st century modernized version of RFK Stadium. So I find that to be really cool. And the drive-in, I guess I'll say this too, just thinking about what it's going to look like at nighttime or even 1 o'clock game, but the drive-in to the stadium, and you're crossing the bridge, and it's like you're entering the mouth of the beast. Like you're just driving right into it, and it's about to swallow you up. As soon as you get across that bridge, you are there. You're there at the stadium. The campus is spread around. You got the stores around it. You got the parks, and it's right there. It's so inviting. I think that's really cool. I can only imagine the drone shots on a Sunday night, a Monday night game where you've got it all lit up with the lights and everything. It's going to be so cool. A couple of other quick, cool notes from or about this stadium before we get into quotes from the relevant officials. The foundations of the old RFK Stadium will literally be fused with the new foundations. So there is a literal physical connection between this new stadium and the old RFK, which again, just upholding the heritage and the pageantry of everything that RFK was. They did the right thing there. And then the field will sit in the exact same spot. The 50-yard line will be at the exact same spot where the 50-yard line was at the old RFK. So again, blending the past with the future. It's just, I don't know. I would assume the design team came up with all this because that's their job. But whoever had these thoughts, massive, massive credit where credit is due, because everything they've done so far, they're going about this in the right way. Let's hear from some people who were involved. Quote, "We are proud to share the first visuals of our future stadium, a defining milestone in the next phase of the developmental process," said Mark Klaus, president of the Washington Commanders. "From the beginning, our focus has been on delivering a best-in-class experience for Commanders fans while honoring the legacy of RFK Stadium and our team. We're designing a stadium that amplifies the energy of football, supports year-round events, and becomes a place the community can be proud of. We look forward to hearing feedback from our community as the design continues to evolve." Here's another one. "HKS is honored to work with one of the world's most extraordinary sports and entertainment sites, and this project calls for an equally extraordinary response," said Mark A. Williams, HKS Global Venues Director. "Every design decision is guided by the significance of the place, shaped by its local, regional, and national history and generations of memories rooted in RFK Stadium. Monumental in presence, grounded in the L'Enfant plan, and scaled to the urban fabric of the district, the stadium design will be a bold civic landmark that carries the city's architectural legacy forward in a way that is confident, dynamic, and unmistakably Washington, D.C. Sorry, I've been riding the metro so much that I read L'Enfant plan and I thought it said L'Enfant Plaza. Again, the stadium is breathtaking. They are connecting it literally with the foundations and the place in the field at the same spot as the old RFK. It just looks great. Everything about this looks great. This gives me a really positive feeling. This looks like a place that people will want to come play. Teams will want to come play. Free agents, yeah, I'd like to be there. Hosting the Super Bowl, hosting the Women's World Cup, which is in 2031, maybe hosting the ACC championship game, just things like that. This is going to be a spot where everybody wants to come rock out. More concerts, just everything. I love this so far. So if you guys got your feelings, make sure you throw them down below. The final note before we close this video out, John Harbaugh, he appears to be on his way to the New York Giants. That is what is being reported by Ian Rappaport, who said that Harbaugh has agreed to a 5-year deal to become the G-Men's next head coach. Now, I wouldn't be too worried about John Harbaugh in the playoff context or massive, massive games. That's partially why I didn't want him here for the Commanders, because I can respect him being a solid coach, but I don't think he's amazing. And with all due respect, when you have Jaden Daniels, you have a Super Bowl window, and I don't think they would have won one with John Harbaugh. So that was personally my opposition to him. Doesn't mean he's a bad coach. He won 61.4% of his games in Baltimore. So I should have done this beforehand, but if we do 17 times 0.614, that means in an average season, he is winning 10.4 games. So in an average year for John Harbaugh, he's going 10-7. That lines up with what he's done recently. He won 10 plus games in 6 of the last 8 seasons. Never won fewer than 8 games. So although the Giants are not going to win a Super Bowl, it's probably not going to win a Super Bowl, they're going to be a tough team. They're going to steal wins. You're not going to sneak into the playoffs at 9-8 with them in the division, because they're going to be right there with you. It's not going to be a foregone conclusion that you sweep them. I mean, we had 5 wins this year and 2 of them were against the Giants. So that sort of stuff's going to come to an end. There's not going to be any pushover teams really in this division. So one final note, I guess, is supposedly he has the power to pick his GM, but Joe Shane also could stay. Just not that we care. We're not Giants fans. Just giving you guys all the information that I have written down in my notes. But anyway, that is going to do it for this video. I'm going to head on out of here. I do appreciate y'all rocking out with me. Make sure that you go to the comment section and leave me your thoughts on the stadium, the DJ Williams hire, everything, whatever is on your mind. I'll be reading and responding to as many as I can. But I'm going to head out of here. I appreciate y'all joining me, and I'll catch you in the next one. Have a great day.